Hi guys, this is Wenzes from Below the Radar Above the System, and now I want to talk to you about INFJ Enneagram 5. We've started this whole series about Enneagram, and this is the second video I'm doing on Enneagram. The first one was INFJ Enneagram 9, and then I had under one of the videos like a little poll where people could write down what they wanted to see, and INFJ Enneagram 5 was the one with the most likes. That doesn't mean that we won't continue. I'll plan on doing a series on all of them, but we're just gonna keep on going, like just following which videos and which topics are most requested. So this is the one I'm going to be talking about, and this is a very complex area, especially since I'm trying to point out what is specific for INFJ's Enneagram 5. And since this is the first video I'm doing that is not on my type, I might be forgetting some things, or maybe through the comments we'll find out that there are more aspects we should go into. So yeah, we're just gonna discuss this, and then I think we can also talk about like also specific Enneagram types, like 5 or so on, even more in detail in next videos. Since I'm trying to do those videos more often, maybe like once a week, so I don't think that will be really a problem. So the Enneagram 5 is a head type. You know, there are there are 9 Enneagram types, and there are 3 areas, and it's 3 by 3. You have the heart type, which is 2, 3s, and 4s. Then you have the head type, which is 5, 6, and 7. And then you have the gut or the instinct types, which are 8, 9, and 1s. And the Enneagram 5 is very, they try to like kind of understand everything very, very specifically. And then we can back to this point of this typical INFJ problem, TI versus FE. We've read it in tons of articles, seen it in videos, but it always comes down to how we find a balance between those two. And I think this is for all INFJs this way, regardless of the Enneagram type. But the Enneagram type really helps you understand how much you need of each part, why you really want to have more TI in you than FE, and so on, just to get like a feeling of what is your motivation behind it. And these kind of problems, they also exist in other personality types when it comes to MBTI. For example, if you have ESTPs, they have also this clash of TI versus FE, or ENTJs or ENFJs with the SE NI or NI-SE problem. So I personally, as I said, I'm an Enneagram type 9, and for me, I kind of like always go more into TI because I don't want to be separated. I don't want to be separated, so I kind of like just stay back and be passive, and so I don't lose connection. With Enneagram 5, it's different. Enneagram 5, they like to be independent. They have already figured out that it's important to be an individual. Type 9s, for example, they don't. Like the longest time I had a problem with realizing that I need to be myself. So Enneagram type 5s know very well that they need to be their own person. Like that is very, that's something they're aware of, so they're never gonna really completely let go of that TI side, and it is important. The problem is that, like most INFJs, if Enneagram type 5 and INFJs kind of go into an unhealthy road, they get really stuck on understanding something and thinking that in understanding something they'll find their solution, and that there's some that they kind of want to be just like away from this whole society kind of thing that does everything just how it's like an enigma kind of thing. Because if we look at society at large, we're set to do certain things and follow certain rules and so on in order to be accepted. And Enneagram type 5s really kind of stay away from that. And the problem is that you really push this thing onto other people at that point. So I had an INFJ Enneagram type 5 friend. It was like around like 1 or 2 years ago. We had like, we were talking a lot, and he was very, yeah, he was very unhappy and so on, because he had so much, he was thinking so deep into this one niche. Like for him, it was very important to, I don't know, this was not it, but let's say something like really saving animals and animal cruelty and so on. And it was such a big topic for him that he really understood everything in that area. And then he thought it was his part or his job to kind of like tell it to everybody and make it a point of, this is me and this is what I want and you're doing everything wrong and so on. This is when he got really unhealthy, because he wants to be accepted for who he is, but he doesn't want to comply to society. The problem is that we do need connection. We are not just those, we're not completely isolated. Like, you have to find a balance. And thinking that you'll find the answer by understanding something so deeply or something that is so important to you will not be the solution. Just understanding will never really give you the satisfaction that you want, because you kind of need to understand things so you can make an impact, so you connect with people. And the point is, where you really start growing is to like kind of integrate yourself, is to understand that, you know, you're not going to find a solution just by understanding something very deeply. And specifically not by rubbing it into people's faces who are not ready to see that. So let's say you have like those beliefs that are so important to you, and you make it a point to stick out and to say like, listen, I do not belong to this like everybody else is, and they just want to be liked for that, and that's perfectly fine. This is how we're supposed to be. But people who are coming from somewhere else, who are not INFJs, who are, so, you know, completely different, they cannot understand where you're coming from at that point. And it's not your fault, it's not their fault. We just gotta all find a different way of doing it. So the hardest part about this is, and I think this is for all us INFJs, which have to understand that there's always a limit to how much coldness and how much TI we really access, and how much we really actually need to put FE forward. It's understanding that how I feel right now, this is how it's going to be. Like for me, it was when I was really in those TI moments, and I was really deep in there, and it was, I had this understanding of, okay, nobody's gonna love me. Nobody's gonna love me because I just try to help people and nothing works. You know, they're never gonna understand me and so on. This is what I believed at that moment. And the solution to all of it was to really accept that. Like really accept it. At that moment, it was not that I thought, oh yeah, I'm just telling myself this and actually everything's gonna be fine. No, this is how I really felt. And you know, I've told you this before, but it's so important to have this thing of feel your pain, deal with it, and then heal it. Like, because now, since I really kind of accepted that, I'm looking for love or pretty much acceptance or connection with people in other areas. I do not want, like back then I thought nobody's gonna understand me the way I am, and I wasn't really aware that I was speaking a language that others could not understand. That's just how it is. And there are two parts of the solution here. So one, as I said, you have to feel the pain really of how, if you're an Enneagram 5, really understand right now, okay, I believe in all those things and they're so important to me and they're so important for society or for the world or for art or whatever, and most people are just not gonna get me. And this feeling, there has to be some kind of acceptance, because once it's there, we can really work on how can we make an impact with our understanding, with us being an individual and being who we are. So the first thing you should do is kind of look for groups and people who share the same beliefs as you. And now with the internet, it's easier than ever. And I'm not talking about, oh, okay, let's find other INFJs who feel misunderstood and so on. Yeah, here you can be, you know, when we talk to each other, we can kind of like understand each other and calm each other down, but it's never an end solution. This is just something to make you feel, okay, I'm not alone. But when you really want to grow as a person, especially as an Enneagram 5, you should go and look into those areas that you personally are interested in. So for example, if you're really into social revolution, or if you're really into I don't know, just like some kind of niche or some kind of specific art or genre, whatever it is, find people who are also interested in that area. You know, why go into your friends group that you see everywhere around you in real life, or go in and talk to people about how something is so like something that is so important to you when they're not at that depth that you are, so they can't even really benefit from it. Like, I've also realized that with work, there's some marketing aspects to my job that I'm okay, like I'm good in it. I'm not perfect, but I'm good. But I'm a niche person. Like there are areas that I'm so good at, and that the majority of people in my field, like the overall field, can't even grasp. They cannot understand what kind of expert I am because they're not that deep into it. So it's your responsibility for yourself to like put your knowledge, this is who you are, like really this interest of yours to go deep, to understand things, to really take that into an area where you can benefit or be a benefit for the group. So if you find like a group that is interested in, for example, social revolution, and you go into that group and you share with them, which is an FE thing, you share with them your insights, and there are people who are actually open for this. You're not trying to convince people who are just closed off because they're completely somewhere else. But when you go somewhere for people who are who are open for this, you can really see that you're bringing value by being yourself. And this is the first part. This is where you start. You find like a group that is like-minded, and you help develop that area. Like this is like, you know, and once you do that, once you really actually do that, and you have an outlet for all your knowledge, for everything that you are, and you'll find it in areas like that. And it doesn't have to be one. You know, you can be on the one hand involved in dance, and then on the other hand you can be involved in politics, and then you can be involved in, I don't know, whatever it is, video games, but like the different areas. And once you can find like that you can have value and benefit people in areas that are actually looking for that information that you have, because those people do exist. And now with the internet and everything, we can actually really get to those people. We can share those things. So once you find that, you'll see how with everything else in your life, you're much more calm. You don't have this urge of, I have to understand everything and I have to prove to others, no matter who is around me, how much more I understand, or how different I am, and so on. And you kind of let it happen, and you kind of calm down, and you actually feel your surroundings, because there's so much of this society that we're kind of like going against that is actually beautiful, and we keep it away from us. And I mean us in INFJs in general, whatever it is, because by allowing ourselves to be, you know, more superficial, more, oh, I like clothes, or I like flowers, or I like, you know, just laying around and not doing anything, or enjoying this easy life. We're scared that if we go that direction, that we won't do what is really deep within us, and all this really that is so important to us. So we have to find those areas where we can apply those things to. So make that a point. Make it a point of saying, okay, this is who I am, and I really want to make an impact with my knowledge, with my understanding, with the things I believe in. And look for groups like this. And if groups like this don't exist, create them. Create them. There's everything on this world. And I guarantee you, you're not the only person who's interested in a kind of area that you're interested in. Find a group, find like a belonging, find like something like this, because you're not completely separate. And once you have that, and you can kind of calm down because you see that you're beneficial to people with your knowledge, with the things that are important to you, you're much more relaxed when it comes to people who are not that close with you or who don't understand you in that way, and you can actually really let connection happen. Yeah, okay, so this is on INFJ Enneagram Type 5s. Yeah, comment below or on the Enneagram 9 video what kind of Enneagram other types you would like to see, or look if the one you want, for example, Enneagram Type 4, I think, has been mentioned on the Enneagram 9 video below, like that one, so I know, just kind of get a hint what is the next one. And yeah, also comment on this one, so what kind of areas you liked about this or you didn't like, or what are you missing, so that with the next videos we can go more into detail on those things, and maybe do follow-up videos on the already mentioned Enneagram types, so we can more dive in deeper. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.